Right now, I'm going to show you how to use the M1 Maxpray Airless sprayer by InoKraft. Full disclosure, they did send this to me for free. In exchange, they've asked that I create some videos about it, show you how to use it, and then give my honest thoughts and opinion about the sprayer. InoKraft offers the easiest to use sprayer home DIYers can afford, and I'm going to put that claim to a test. So be sure to stick around until the end to see what I think about the sprayer. But in this video, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know once you get the sprayer, how to set it up, how to prime it, how to spray, how to use it. So everything that you need to know coming up. So first things first, when you get the sprayer, it does come with some storage fluid in it, so you'll have to flush that out. But let's go ahead and see what's in the box, then we'll get it prepped for our first project. This is the paint sprayer itself. This is the M1 version. I will go over it in detail in a second. Also in the box, you get a ball valve here, which connects right to your garden hose for cleaning afterwards. 2 wrenches to put the hose on, some cleaning items, an extension hose, the spray gun itself. You get a 25-foot hose, and then you got some quick start guides here. Let's go over the machine in detail. On the side of the machine, you have the control valve. This is going to control your pressure, your spray. So all the way up here, you have high spray. And then if you rotate it down here, you've got low spray, and then you've got the prime and clean position, and then basically no spray here. On the front here, this threaded piece right here is where the hose will connect. We'll get that connected in a second. Then on this valve on the side here, this will indicate whether you are in the spray position or prime position. So as you can read it, will indicate the position that it's in. So spray, this piece will be sticking straight out. To prime it, it needs to be down. So this, right now, that position that it's in, that is the prime position. This is the spray position. Then here below, you have the push start valve. That is underneath here on this model. That yellow button, you will need to press that to push start the sprayer. So first things first, let's go ahead and get the hose onto the front of the machine here. So nothing fancy here. We're just going to screw it on the front, and then we will use one of the wrenches here to make sure it's tight and in place. So there we go. It's on. Give it a nice snug twist. There we go. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and attach the gun itself. Now for this, we're going to have 2 nuts, and we can rotate them here in a second. I'll show you how that works. They work like a compression fitting, but nothing fancy here. You just screw it on, holding this nut up top, otherwise it will twist. And then once you get to that position right there, you'll use both wrenches here, one on the top and then one on the bottom. Okay, and that will hold it in place. Now I do have to set it down here just because of physics. I can't do it any other way. Perfect. So again, just holding them in place, rotating them in opposite directions, and that will make sure that the gun is nice and secure. Perfect. Also, one thing to note here on the side of the spray gun, you do have a lock. So you can lock that in position so you can't pull the trigger. Once you unlock that, you are able to then pull the trigger. So you go ahead and for safety, put it in the lock position so you don't accidentally spray. Now the machine does come with some storage fluid, so let's go ahead and get it set up for its first time use. So now let's go ahead and flush the storage material from our Maxpray M1 and get it set up for our first use. So take the hoses out. You've got the 2 hoses here. The large hose is going to be for your material, and the smaller hose is going to be your waste. So separate the 2. Set the big hose into your cool, clean water bucket, and then take the waste hose and put that into an empty bucket to collect the material that comes out. So a couple steps here. First, we are going to flip it into the prime position. Then we are going to hit the push start valve twice. Remember the yellow button underneath. 1, 2. Then we are going to put this to the clean and prime position. And then we are going to go ahead and power on the sprayer. So we flushed everything out. The cool thing is that's the same exact process for priming the machine. So today's project, I'm going to be using white paint and I'm going to be painting this sliding closet door behind me. Let's get it primed with the paint for today's project and then we'll get to painting. Perfect, so everything's primed, we're almost ready to start spraying. The last thing I want to do is run paint through the hose and out of the nozzle to make sure everything's working right. So I'll flip it to the spray position. I am wearing my goggles here just to be safe. I'll turn the sprayer on, I'll set it to a very low setting, and then I will pull and hold the trigger on the sprayer until I have paint coming out of the nozzle at a good rate. You'll notice I am using the extension piece, but the spray tip is not on just yet. So I'm pulling the trigger, watching as the material comes out of the sprayer, no obstructions, no air bubbles, looking for a nice steady stream of paint or material. Once I'm happy with how it's coming out of the nozzle, I can then turn it off, attach my spray tip, tighten it with a wrench, and then we can jump into the project for today.
All right, so I'm all safe, I'm ready to go. First thing, I'm going to test my pattern on some cardboard here. So let's go ahead and test our spray pattern here. All right, so I am using the extension. I want to be about 8 to 12 inches away. And let's go ahead and disengage the trigger lock. And let's go ahead and test our spray here. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that spray pattern. Let's go ahead and start here on the door. I'm going to start a little bit above it and then come down on it. I always want my sprayer to be moving when I hit the material. Otherwise, if you're stagnant or still, it will start to drip and it'll create some issues there. So again, about 8 to 12 inches away, spray and go all the way down. I'm going to start on the side of the door here. Perfect. I'm going to start at the top again, overlapping. Okay.
So that's it. That is my second and final coat with this base coat and primer. I will be doing a top coat or a final coat with this oil enriched enamel. Why? Well, it comes down to cost. This base coat or base paint primer is significantly cheaper than this type of oil-enriched enamel, which is specifically made for projects like this in high traffic areas. So I'm just reducing the cost. This is almost 4 times as much as that other paint. So I'll be sharing that in an upcoming video if you'd like to check that out or check back in later. But right now, I'm really excited to give my review and opinion about the Maxpray M1 Airless Paint Sprayer by InoKraft. That's just fun to say. So again, they did send this to me for free in exchange for using it and sharing my honest opinion about it. And I have to say, I am thoroughly impressed. So not only did I do this project, I painted my office upstairs, I painted the walls with it, I painted the ceiling with it, and I've never used an airless sprayer like this before. I've used other sprayers, but nothing like this before. So the really cool thing is that it comes with everything you need right in the box. The only thing that I had to get was a mask or a respirator. Everything else came with it. It's got great instructions and all the tools to put it together, so it walks you through the process. And then priming it, getting it set up to spray. All of that stuff, it's included. It walks you through it step by step. They also have online videos to help you walk you through that as well. I will link to those in the description of this video. As a first-time user, of course there's going to be a learning curve, so keep that in mind. No matter what sprayer you're using, you have to learn how to use it. So get some practice material, get some cheap paint, take a couple of hours and just practice with it. After I learned how to use the machine, I really got used to it. I got in a rhythm. You have to learn how far to be away from it. You're going to be shaky at first. Your lines aren't going to be straight. You're going to have to practice with it. But once you get the hang of it, it just makes cutting through and painting so much faster. And I really enjoyed the fact that when I was painting the ceiling, I didn't have to hold a roller up above my head. You know, if you've painted, holding a roller above your head for more than 5 seconds, your shoulders start to burn. So a great machine. They compare themselves to the Graco paint sprayer. These are mid-model type sprayers. So they're not the high-end, really expensive ones, but they're not cheap either. They're not cheap, they're not junky. It's well made and it's a mid-range. It's a pro-amateur level, I would say. They recommend no more than 150 uses per year. So you do the math there, that's a couple of times a week. For DIYers like you and me, that's going to be plenty. I don't foresee myself using this 150 times a year. So at this price point, I would definitely have purchased this machine. It's well built, it's sturdy, it's easy to understand, it's easy to use. So I would say it compares very well to other models out there. Now again, I haven't used the other models, but I was thoroughly impressed with this machine here. If I was making the decision again, and this was one of my options to buy, I would definitely consider it. If for some reason I needed to buy another one, I would just go with this one. Personally, I would purchase it myself, especially what it is, the price point, all things considered. The last thing to do here would be to kind of clean everything up. Guess what? They've got a resource for that. I will link to that video on cleanup. I will be using this in future videos, so feel free to like and subscribe if you'd like to see it in action in the future. If you like DIY around the house stuff, again, my name is Drew Smith. I'll see you in the next one.